What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding, and today it's going to be a chest day and I'll be showing you exactly what I'm doing wearing the all new bright neon green dropped armhole tank top by VintageGenetics.com. Anyway, let's get started with the dumbbell press. Always like to start out the first exercise with quite a lot of warm-up sets. So I've been training for at least a year using working sets at the end of each exercise, and a working set means going to failure on that set. However, you do want to warm up towards that working set, and the only way to do that is to start out with lighter weights with more reps, warming up the joints here, the shoulders, the chest itself, so you don't injure yourself, so you don't get tendonitis, you don't rip anything off. So let's get started with the flat dumbbell press. Alright, so I'm going to show you the first few sets of my dumbbell press, the first exercise we're doing. And now I'm not only showing you that it's a warm-up set or a set in general, but it's actually called feeder sets. Now I like calling them feeder sets because they feed into the actual working set, because you can't walk into the gym and then pick up the heaviest dumbbells you did the last time and try to outperform yourself that you did the last time. So what do you need to do? You need to warm up properly, as I said before, and you need to do so by doing feeder sets. You're feeding your muscles heavier and heavier weights, allowing them to become used to heavier weights, allowing you to warm up properly, get blood into the muscles, get the joints and the tendons ready for the heavy weight. It's also mentally much easier this way, because just imagine starting out with a super heavy weight. It would feel a lot heavier compared to actually warming up with the weight. So this is the actual working set number one. What you do during a working set is you actually go to failure. So here I think I hit about 10 reps on the 70 kilos. So this is my way of performing and seeing if I'm performing the same strength compared to before. Oh, damn. Right, that was working set number one. It's always the 70 kilos as the heaviest weight we have here at the gym. Normally I can probably hit 12, I hit 13 reps before, but that was a couple of weeks ago, actually possibly 2 months ago, when I weighed 5 kilos more and was eating 3 times as many carbs, so a lot more calories. So that was in the peak of the off season. So during the mini cut, which I'm doing right now, I'm in the 3rd week right now, you want to maintain strength as much as possible. And my goal here was to do at least 10 reps of 70 kilos. Today I'm not feeling super strong, kind of feeling under the weather just a little bit, feeling quite hot even though it's cold outside. So still getting the training in, and I'm very happy with the results. So the whole goal of the mini cut is to gauge your strength by using those working sets, and every single workout to see if your strength is dropping or staying the same. Now the strength here dropped compared to 2 months ago, but overall it stayed pretty much the same. Especially considering I had some weight loss and I'm eating a lot less, so it hasn't dropped exponentially. Now we're going to do working set number 2 using a lighter weight but with multiple more reps, at least 12 to 15 reps I'm gonna aim for with 55 kilos, so let's do it. So this is indeed working set number 2. At least at the first true compound movement of the day, you should do at least 2 working sets where you go to failure. Or if you call a set that goes to failure, it's automatically called a working set, at least in my terminology. Of course, you evolve over time. Back in the day, I simply did, when I did 5 sets in total for an exercise where there was a warm-up or going to failure, I would simply say I'm doing 5 sets of a lat pull down. Now I'm saying I'm doing 3 feeder sets and 2 working sets, just to make it more clear what the difference is
between the sets.
Okay, so that's why you should always do 2 working sets. The first set seemed to be a little less reps. However, the second set is more reps. So you still can say that you maintained your strength pretty well on the second working set, which is less weight but more reps. So still an improvement compared to last time. All right, quite tiring. In between the working set and the next exercise, keep enough rest. So next one will be the incline bench press.
Okay, now it's time for the incline Smith machine bench press. It still is one of my favorite movements, and I really love combining it with the dumbbell press. With the dumbbell press you have the most amount of freedom. It's also an exercise loved by Lee Haney. I don't think he really did any kind of barbell presses. He mostly did dumbbell presses, and he said it's because you have more freedom of motion with the arms, more balancing to have to do to build those muscles. So automatically you won't be able to do as much weight with dumbbells compared to how much weight you're able to do with a barbell. So I like combining a very free weight exercise with a more fixed exercise like this. Each exercise has their own merits, own benefits, and the true benefit of this one is that you actually can focus only on pushing as much weight up as you can without having to balance the weight yourself. So I do think it's important that you do mostly free weights, just complete your physique in terms of stability and balance, but then also combine it with exercises that focus purely on working the muscle that the exercise works.
So I just did working set number 1 for the incline Smith machine bench press. Now, 2 things. First, the rep range was a bit lower than usual, 6 to 8 reps, so I stayed around 6 reps for the last set there for working set number 1. You do have to keep in mind that when you're doing a mini cut or a cut in general, that the amount of glycogen stores are lower, so the deeper you are in the workout, the less strength you will produce compared to your off season. So truly the first exercise is a true indicator of strength. The later ones, if you can keep up with strength, that will be great, but if not, that's mostly also to blame to the glycogen being more depleted than usual. So now I'm going to hit working set number 2 with a lighter weight with as many reps as I possibly can do. So let's do it. And by the way, I'm choosing the Smith machine and not the regular bench press because I don't have a spotter and I can still now go to failure in a safe way. Anyway, let's get started.
Okay, so the incline bench press is also one of those exercises that just feels amazing to me, just like the dumbbell press. So that's why I like to do at least 2 working sets on this as well. So most exercises you can get away with 2 working sets, but if you would be doing 5 chest exercises and 3 tricep exercises and then have 2 working sets for each, that would be a whole lot of problems for recovery, and being able to beat all of those weights the next time would really be difficult. What would be more realistic is actually having those working sets in less exercises overall.
Alright, this one is obviously going to be, well, not obviously, but as you can see, the chest flies. For the fullness of the chest, really getting some volume in there. These 2 exercises, you may wonder, well, that's not a whole lot of volume because you're really only focusing on 2 working sets, and normally I might do 4 or 5 sets. Well, now the volume part is at play. So first you take out the strength, progressive overload part, and now it's time for some volume sets. So at least 15 reps on each of these fly sets. And look at the height of this. It's as high as my chest will be for the flies. And that's important to keep the shoulders out of it and to keep any strange angles from pulling your chest and your arms to the wrong direction. You want it to pull for the chest as if you would be sitting on a pec deck like this. You want this to be as high, so when it's possible to adjust it, definitely do. Anyway, let's start.
So what I just did are 2 heavy presses, the flat dumbbell press and the incline bench press. Both were exercises where I want to improve myself or at least maintain my strength for the next time, since I'm in a minicut. When you are in a bulk, you should always try to improve yourself. If it's not the amount of weight, then it should be the amount of reps. If it's not the weight or reps, then it should be your form. Something must improve, and if it doesn't improve in the next few workouts, then either that exercise is incorrect for you, you should switch it out with a different exercise that is comparable, or your diet is lacking in certain nutrients, for example, certain micronutrients, or in macronutrient balances in general, or you're simply lacking in sleep. But what I also think is important, after you do those sets where you try to improve yourself and become stronger and know that when you progress you actually build muscle, you also want to apply as much blood in the muscle as possible. And that's not always possible on those heavier exercises like a dumbbell press, for example, unless you do a lot of reps and drop sets, which is not part of a set about improving your strength. So you have to isolate volume from the weight you're using. That's why I like to do heavy weights first and then hit more volume in exercises after, which make more sense for it, like an isolation movement for the chest right here, the cable flies. Now you can do a dumbbell fly, you can do a pec deck, or you can do cable flies like I'm doing right here. And now you can introduce drop sets. Of course you can introduce it at any time you want, but in my opinion this is the best time in the workout to introduce it. You already got the strength stuff out of the way. Now it's all about pumping up the chest, putting more volume in the chest, getting all those nutrients, that oxygen to the chest again, and pretty much going to failure in a different way. But this time it's not necessary to measure it for next time. It's simply going up in the intensity. Alright, so this is one I love as well. We have two different kinds of dip machines in the gym. This is an assisted dip machine, so a weight beneath my feet, a plate actually, helps lift my body weight up. So I'm doing less than my body weight, and this allows me to really focus on the form, the stretch, but also the contraction at the top, which normally you can't really do if you do body weight dips. Now the other machine I have is actually my favorite one, but you gotta switch it up sometimes, and my favorite one is the ATX belt squat machine, which you can not only use for squatting but also for performing bodyweight dips. You put a belt around you and then you add some weights. However, those two dips, despite being named the same and despite the movement looking similar, are very different, because if you add weight to a dip, it really is mostly about the stretch and putting as much stress and tension on the muscle. Where you're doing it this way, it's really about the range of motion, about the stretch and the contraction at the same time. And to me, that is also very beneficial. So for people who have shoulder issues or problems, or simply feel elbow pain when doing dip, for example, with your body weight or more, and then doing a machine which makes it lighter for you, allowing you to adjust the tension only to the muscle where you want it, would be a suitable option for you. But in my opinion, you should always switch up the way you do the dips. And to me, bodyweight dips are the best, but every now and then you can stick to like a seated machine dip or an assistant machine dip that I did just now. Anyway, this is a tricep movement. So for the triceps, I choose something different every single time. This chest workout is a standard one. It's one of my 3 different rotations. But for the triceps, I don't have anything set. So what I do is what I feel like at that day. So for the triceps, in this instance, it will be instinctive training, because I already have a separate arm day where I will log all the lifts for the biceps and the triceps to improve my lifts on them. And it's hard to do when you already have done a chest session to really focus on tricep strength. So what I want to do here is first focus on a full range of motion and getting a lot of blood in the triceps by doing that rope push down combined supersetted with an overhead rope extension. It's one of my favorite ones to superset with. And then after the triceps are filled with blood, I want to use an incline Skullcrusher like this with dumbbells to use an overhead exercise to then stretch out the long head of the triceps. So first pump it up, and then using that pumped up muscle fiber, you stretch those fibers out for a more dramatic stretching effect. Okay, it's the next day now, next morning. I just wanted to show you my weight right now. So I am in a Minicut, and after all, it's all about losing some, non-quality weight during this time. That's the whole point of a Minicut. To keep all the muscle mass, keep all the strength, but without the excess fat or water under the skin, just weight in general, and then to continue with the lean bulk again once that is cleaned up. So let's check it out. All right, let's stand on it. 123.4. Okay, so that was the weight, 123.4. That's more than 5 kilogram difference from when I was in my peak off season, which was above 129 kilos. So that just goes to show how fast a Minicut can go, how fast weight loss can go. That was to be expected, honestly, because I know how I respond when I start a contest prep and how quickly I can lose weight. Now with weight, I don't mean fat, I don't mean muscle, but weight in general, which usually is a combination of water and fat. So mostly water, but also some fat, as my definition has improved. My skin is thinner, and I'm going to still be doing this for 2 more weeks until I'm satisfied with my look to start another 6 weeks of a lean bulk before diving into the prep. Because I don't think it would be wise to do a Minicut and then dive into the prep right away, because then you wouldn't have a break and it would be essentially a very long prep. So I want to thank you for watching. Lots more is coming, and don't forget to stay golden.
Yeah.